It's a fast beat, unpredictable and full of surprises. The unforgettable moments, unprecedented passion, the victories and defeats in the world of sports makes it engaging. Fasten your seatbelts as we take you through every update in the news and on our shows. We define the moments of true sports. Join us.
How does double digits affect your purchasing power? What about ballooning debts profile and scarce FX? How's that affecting your business?
The federal government is turning to the money market to fund these deficits. Are yields contracting or expanding? Is this a good buy for you?
Inflation drives MPC decisions and affects sentiment at the equities markets. What is happening to your investment?
Or would you rather go digital? We track all the volatility in the crypto market.
Get the answers from the business team every weekday at 1 p.m. on Business Incorporated, only on Channels Television.
No matter where they are, if it concerns the people, we are there. From community game changers to homemade solution providers, where assurance and trust are built.
Policing should be people from the community who do the job. You don't bring an outsider.
We hear about Amotekun. We've not seen much of them around this area.
Documenting journeys of many starting big from a small place. Creating an intentional community where people go beyond living together to building strong and more friendly communities. Community Report, only on Channels Television. Breaking news.
Again with the latest Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Developing stories. And the conversations that matter.
We see an increase because of the economic pressure on them. The people are paying more for crossing borders irregularly.
Get a glimpse of the world around you on The World Today. Weekdays at this time.
Hello everyone, welcome to our continued coverage of the Edo Governorship Election 2024. I'm Sean Wakimale and welcome to Channels Television's makeshift studio in our coverage of the election that has gripped the nation. So it's a national or federal election. Yes. It's got the attention of the world as to who becomes the next governor of Edo State. The people of Edo State had gone to the polling units today across over 4,500 polling units that are activated by the Independent National Electoral Commission across the 18 local government areas of the state. And in all of what has happened today, a lot of stories, a lot of talking points, a lot of lessons to learn, and we're going to be bringing you all of the updates and the intrigues into all of the exercise. All of those things that you need to know. Stick with me, everyone. Within the next few hours, I'm going to be driving you through this journey in getting an understanding of what really happened. If you've not been following, or you've missed out in some of the updates we have been giving you on this election, is the time for you to get up to speed. Now let's get started. Of course, election started in the wee hours of the day. When I say wee hours, is because election is actually not the voting. Election starts way beyond what you see in the preparation and in all of the activities leading to the voting exercise. So we saw ad hoc officials and INEC officials who camped at the rack centers, and that's part of the election process, because we saw them camp around the rack centers. They slept over there where the materials and all of the paraphernalia for the elections were kept alongside those who were going to conduct the elections. As early as 7 a.m., we were on the ground, Channels Television. We were live and bringing you live pictures of what it looked like in most of the polling units across the state. So at 8:30, we will be bringing you statistics on how the commencement went on, the logistics, the operational issues that INEC experienced in the election of today. And of course, we saw rain disrupted the exercise in some areas, and it rained for about 2-3 hours. But in that rain, a lot of the voters were not deterred. They came out, they voted, they got counted, they cast their ballot to knowing who becomes the next governor of Edo State. In the rain, under the sun, they waited, and eventually they got their vote cast. But at the end of the day, some of the votes were sorted and counted. It's assumed that today, as the moment as we speak, that voting, sorting, and counting in most of the polling units would have ended, although because of the rain and the delay in several parts of the state, INEC came out with an announcement to say there will be an extension of time in the election because of the delay that we saw in the commencement of the exercise. So, INEC had said, anyone who is on the queue before or after 2:30 or before 2:30 p.m. this afternoon, when the exercise should have terminated, will still be allowed to vote. And we are keeping tabs on what is going on right there. And of course, as we are monitoring for you what really happened, we need to keep our eyes on the IREV, because this is supposed to be where the independence and the transparency of the process is monitored, and we are monitoring that for you. This is the IREV platform as put together by INEC, and so far, and all of the 18 local government areas, what we do know is that we're expecting results from 4,519 polling units, and so far, a total of 4,108 results have been submitted on this portal, and it gives you this kind of map, the percentage uploaded as of 7:03 p.m. as we speak. 90.91% result have been uploaded. That is according, if you can scroll up so that we can get a sense of what this platform, and you can also go there and you can view the words and the result and scroll up so that we can see what it all entails on all of the local government areas and the wards, the 192 of them, and you can see how the results have been uploaded. So far, we see that the results are being uploaded, and of course 4,108 results so far out of the 4,519. That is what we do know at the moment. So it's important for us to keep tabs on that. But in all of these also, there are a few issues that have happened, including the fact that those who are attempting to buy votes and who are engaging to trade votes, some of them were arrested. And our cameras caught this particular instance in Ego local government area, where officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, arrested some persons. Take a listen to some of what really happened. Arrested those who are suspected to be buying votes and trading votes for money at some of the polling units. But also, we are monitoring what police says they have done. Police have said that they arrested some political thugs, party loyalists for vote buying, and recovered cash and incriminating items. In a statement released earlier today by Muyiwa Adejobi, the first public relations officer, he said, in yet another comprehensive operation, the police operatives conducted synchronized raids on identified black spots earlier today at approximately 1900 hours, and that was yesterday evening. And the well-coordinated effort, according to him, led to the arrest of two key suspects who were members of a political party and both from Ufanama community in Ovia Southwest LGA of Edo State. According to him, they says the suspects connected to a larger network involving one Atiku in court, a kingpin known as the Boss, were apprehended at Socash Guest House in Ekpoma, where a substantial amount of cash and incriminating items were recovered. And so they said some of the items recovered include a list of voters' names with corresponding money values, a collection of pre-filled ballot papers, a set of fake identification cards, and they also went ahead to say 6 suspects, namely Sulaiman Abdul Rahim, Fatima Yakubu, Yusuf Aminat, Salihu Lukman, and Safinu Saratu were all arrested at Iboshe Secondary School beside Mariamu Hotel, Auchi, for engaging in vote buying. And the group were found with a large sum of money, a cache of weapons, and a detailed plan outlining strategies for voter intimidation. That's according to the Nigerian police force. What they said they did from yesterday night up running to today. We might be getting some update from the Nigerian police force on the program today. So stick around with us. Let's give you an understanding of what really happened in some of the polling units where we saw that some of the major candidates cast their ballot. Let's begin in alphabetical order. The candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Monday Okpebolo. Senator Monday Okpebolo was seen casting his ballot in his polling unit in his local government. He was on the queue and he cast his ballot at Asian Central. And he was said to have be in polling unit 1 or 2 in Udomi Primary School, Udomi, Irua, Asian Central Local Government Area of Edo State. And afterwards, he described the exercise as well coordinated, commending the electoral umpire for his efficiency, especially as observed in his work. Take a listen to the APC candidate.
I'm rating INEC very high. Reasons because everything is moving smoothly, and the Beavers is working perfectly. You see it very as if you have not done it, you have done nothing. So it's like just go there and vote. That is how it is right now. I believe the way it is, it should be like that everywhere. It's okay here. I don't know others, but what I'm seeing here is like a testimony that INEC is getting it right. Everything they are saying about security, this, that, is hyping. I know nothing is happening. You can see. Nobody is fighting. No knockout even. No a stick of matches. So it's just for people to scare people away from voting.
Okay, you did this slide.
All right, then we do know that the candidate of the APC, Sentomondi Okpebolo, voted in Asian Central, and of course the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Olumide Akpata, says the exercise was seamless after casting his ballot, and of course he did that in his own polling unit in Oredo, Ward 6, Unit 11, and it was all smiles for him and giving thumbs up to the cheering crowd. Take a listen to Mr. Olumide Akpata.
For my own process, it was seamless. The machine worked. I was captured. I picked up my ballot paper. I went into the booth. I thumbprinted where you will imagine I will thumbprint, and I stuck it into the ballot paper. So that went well. I'm hopeful that that is the experience of every Edo voter. I'm not going to conclude that that is the experience of every Edo voter until we start to get the feedback. We're getting some concerning feedback from around the state, but I'm not the kind of person who's going to make any statements until I verify the sources of my information. So it's early days, or should I say, it's still early in the day, and we will be observing the process as we go. At least we have crossed one hurdle. I have voted. So I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that this is going to be a process that is well run, and that the playing field will be leveled, totally leveled, so that the best man or woman will win today.
All right, that was the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Olumide Akpata, who voted today in his polling unit. So let's go to the polling unit of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, where the governorship candidate, Mr. Aswo Igodalo, voted at the Idiorio Primary School, Ward 1, Unit 3 in Ewohimi in the Eastern Southeast local government area. The PDP candidate and some other supporters and some family members who were seen around midday due to the lateness of INEC officials on the queue, gave his own view on what he thought the exercise looked like after he cast his ballot.
We're getting reports from different areas. The reports we're getting are really very good as regards the voting itself. When people actually do get around to voting, the exit kind of polls, because we are conducting exit polls, show that we're even doing much better than we expected, much better than our polls have shown. So we're very confident, we're supremely confident. Even in Edo North, we're doing very, very well. You know, people that didn't expect that we'll do so well in the circles, and we're doing extremely well with the exit polls. So we're supremely confident that things are good as regards the voting process proper. Now, we're hearing some reports that bother us. Some of our guys are still being arrested at polling units. You're not supposed to bring ammunition into polling units, but funny guys dressed in mufti, claiming to be policemen, are going around polling units arresting some of our guys. That's not on. And that doesn't suggest a level playing field, you know? That's one. Secondly, we're hearing that there's also voter suppression in some areas where we're strong. Again, that's not on, you know. And then we're hearing there's a lot of vote buying going on, particularly in Esako East. We're hearing that in the Esakos, there's a lot of vote buying going on. Again, you know, those guys that are from those parts, particularly those so-called leaders, if they think they're good, if they think they have capacity, if they think they've done well for their people, why are they doing all these things that subvert the democratic process? Why? If they feel that they're popular, they feel they're good, they feel they're great, so why are they subverting the process? We're here, we're mingling with our people, we're not involved in all those funny hanky-panky things. You know, people should allow the democratic process to work. If you've governed and you've governed well, your people will reward you by revoting you. If you haven't governed well, they won't reward you. You know, it's because people haven't governed well that all of these funny things do happen, you know, and so we will not accept it. We will not let people try to subvert the good intentions of the good people of Edo State. We won't let it happen. If INEC States creates a level playing field and they stay truthful and faithful to the process, we will abide by it, you know. But we also know, data suggests, you know, we're not leaving anything to chance. We're working with data every step of the way.
All right, that is the PDP candidate, Aswe Igodalo, after he cast his ballot. But just for a moment, we take a pause on those who voted and the responses to those elections. Let's get a feel of what exactly is going on with INEC in the conduct of the election and some of the results that we're expecting. Don't forget, I told you that our eyes are on the IREV. The IREV, all the results that have come in. As of now, 7:20 p.m., 4,140 result out of the 4,519. That is what we do know. So let's touch base now and speak with the INEC rec, Mr. Anubum Onoa, who is live for us from the INEC office in Benin City. Thank you so much, Resident Electoral Commissioner, for joining us tonight. Rec, I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, good evening. Has been let me begin by asking you, has been the exercise so far? Has it gone according to your plan?
So far, you can attest to that.
Okay, so a few issues that we need to pick on and get information from you. First and foremost, can you tell us whether or not voting has ended in all the 519 polling units across the state?
We are aware that because of the late arrival of materials, the Commission, in their wisdom, extended the time from 2 o'clock and allow people who have not voted to vote. The intention of the Commission is not to differentiate anybody, and that is why they extended the time. I believe by now that voting would have been concluded in some units. People have delayed me here. That is why I can't give you categorically tell you whether it has ended or not. I waited for you for over 45 minutes here. So I cannot categorically tell you whether it has ended or not.
Apologies for delaying you, but then is also for the good of the populace and the voters who are expecting to get a feedback from you. But give us an understanding of what really happened. There were some logistical problems which led to the delay in the commencement of the exercise. What are the reports that you have? Why did this happen?
Well, the logistic providers in some local government disappointed us. We had to make some arrangement to take care of that disappointment. That was what delayed voting in some areas. And the commission, in their wisdom, extended it. But the important thing is that everybody voted and nobody was defranchised in course of this election. And the election was peaceful. Because when we met the security agents, they promised us that they will be professional in their work. And so far, they have been so professional in their. But I want to correct one thing. Those who are publishing results, it is not their duty to publish results. INEC has not announced a result. We have not even the returning officer. The returning officer for the state will announce the result. The returning officer for the ward, what we announce. The returning officer for the local government will announce, and then it will come to the state to announce. But I'm surprised that what I'm seeing in social media, that is not the correct position of the commission. Nobody has the capacity to do that. The law is clear on who should announce the result. So they should desist. We should help me and tell them that they should not announce any result. It is the duty of the INEC to do that, please. Please help me and disseminate this information.
I think one of the issues, I know that by law, according to the electoral law and the constitution, the INEC is empowered to make announcement of result. But I guess where some people are worried and bothered is when they see the number of registered or accredited voters and it's less than the number of votes cast and recorded for some political parties in some polling units, and that's why some people are raising alarm in some resort. Have you seen some of these reports, Rec?
Yes, I'm not interested in the social media result.
All right. I mean, we do know that it's the authority that is allowed by law to announce the result is INEC, and that is the authoritative result. But of course, we are also keeping our eyes on IREV, which is provided by INEC for transparency purposes, and everyone can go there to see what is going on. As of now, 4,150 result has been posted by INEC. Borek, what can you tell us? When are you likely to start announcing the result by local governments?
So, you know that it will start from the ward, the RA. From RA to the local government, from the local government to the state. So the result you are seeing is the unit result. And they will compile the unit by unit for the ward. Then from the ward, then you go to the local government. We have 192 wards in Edo State and 18 local government. So I cannot categorically tell you when we will start the collation of the result at the state. As they come, we will announce.
So a lot of Nigerians want to know whether they need to go and sleep so that they can go to church in the morning or go and do some other things early in the morning. And that's why we wanted to know what is, how your mind is working at INEC, whether or not you will begin the announcement tonight or you will wait until all of the results are turned in before you start the announcement. Can you give Nigerians an understanding of how you are going about the exercise? Are you starting to announce it? Any local government that comes in, you will announce, or you wait until all has come in before you start announcement, so that Nigerians can manage their expectations?
As they come, we will announce.
So that means that any moment from now, the announcement might commence.
Yes, but we don't have any ones. For now.
There are no results yet from any of the local governments yet?
No result yet.
Reg, I know that you've had to battle some psychological issues leading up to this election. Those who doubted your integrity, those who think that you have been bought over by a political party, those who think that you are going to be a partisan in this exercise. Would you say that you have been able to live up to the expectation and the calling of your oath of office?
That my integrity is not in doubt at all. I'm coming from the university community. What are the doubts? What have I done wrong? They can say, you have not done this, or you are supposed to do this, you are supposed to do that. I have been transparent to all the political parties. The mere fact that I'm a cousin to the minister does not mean that I will do something that will affect my character or reputation. I've worked hard to be at this stage. As an associate professor of law, this job cannot demean my reputation. So I would always do what is right, irrespective of the person. Does it mean that because the minister is my cousin, I cannot hold political appointment? Am I not a Nigerian? Shall we should answer this question? What are the requirements? Those people who are saying that, are they in a position to screen me? The CDS screened me and found me worthy and confirmed my appointment. I have been in Edo for almost 1 year now. Nobody complained about me. I have been holding meetings with the political party. Nobody has raised doubts about me. Because I have refused to play to the gallery, that is why. If I've accepted to eat to their building, would they complain? They should be able to tell me what I have done, Shegu. And that is important. We should pass the level of, you are cousin to this, you are brother to this. What should we be talking about is competence.
Yeah.
Are you qualified? Do you have the experience?
But I think an issue here, for someone who has a background in law, we know so that also what you...
son that is qualified for a job, because I am involved, I will not employ that person. So if your son is qualified for a job, because it's your son, he should not be employed. How can we be thinking 21st century? I think those ideas are mundane, please. And you are in a position, you are because you are part in progress, right, as far as the electoral system is concerned. Help us to educate people. What they should consider is the character of the reputation, qualification, experience. Shall we do an independent investigation?
Let me bring this, because of your background in law, that the issue of morality is also very key. The moral burden, there are those who will say that you perhaps got the job just because you are cousin to the minister. Isn't it a moral issue that for a job that is that sensitive should be given based on family or biological relationship?
That have been really released. Have we not been transparent? Is INEC not transparent? I expected the people to give accolade to INEC. We have been improving. What happened last year? the election. Is it happening? Look at the way they are uploading results. So I'm not a party to what is wrong. I have a reputation to maintain. So
but Rick, let me ask you. Frankly speaking,
there is no secrecy in INEC.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you. Were you, because you said that you did not yield to their panderings, was it that any politician or political party actually approached you to manipulate the election? Rick, can you see? Are you still there?
I'm not hearing you.
All right, no, Rick, the question I was asking is that you have said that the reason why they are asking questions about your relationship with the minister is because they wanted you to do their bidding and you refused to do it. Can you tell us tonight if anyone, politician or political party, approached you to manipulate the election in their favor? Oh dear. It seems we're having some communication glitch there. But let's go on a break, everyone. And when we return, our continued coverage of the Edo Governorship Election 2024 continues. We'll be right back, everyone.
Cube is available in beef, chicken, jollof, and shrimp flavors at attractive prices of 100, 200, 500 naira, along with saver and super saver packs.
Terra Cube, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
Do you have a burning desire to transform your country? Can you drive this change with a profitable business? Then this is your moment. Seize the chance to win a grant of 30 million naira, gain top-tier mentorship from industry titans, and connect with an elite network of business leaders. Channels Television is once again on the hunt for young, ambitious, relentless social entrepreneurs ready to shine on the second season of the business competition show, Funded Forward. Apply now at www.fundedforward.tv. Funded Forward, a Channels original series. Apply now.
Nigeria is a land filled with boundless potential, talent with brilliant ideas, in dire need of funding to scale up. Are you ready to make a personal impact and change lives? Introducing the iPhilanthropy platform from the Nigeria Office for Philanthropy and Impact Investing, NPO, powered by Wema Bank. With donations starting at just $2 or 2,000 naira, you can support a project of your choice, help dreams become a reality, support startups, and fuel job creation in key sectors such as fashion, furniture, manufacturing, sustainable agribusiness, and renewable energy. It's about making dreams come true, creating job opportunities, all from a single, easy-to-use platform. Visit i-philanthropy.org today. iPhilanthropy. Together, we can create a brighter future for Nigeria, one job at a time.
Join the excitement with Betano, the premier sports betting platform in Nigeria and proud official partner of Aston Villa. Enjoy our award-winning experience with fantastic betting options, cash out, and engaging missions. Discover even more exclusive features. Join now and receive a welcome bonus of up to 200,000 naira. Betano. The game starts now.
Breaking news.
Again with the latest Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Developing stories. And the conversations that matter.
We see an increase because of the economic pressure on them. The people are paying more for crossing borders irregularly.
Get a glimpse of the world around you on The World Today. Weekdays at this time.
How does double digits affect your purchasing power? What about ballooning debt profile and scarce FX? How's that affecting your business?
The federal government is turning to the money market to fund its deficits. Are yields contracting or expanding? Is this a good buy for you?
Inflation drives MPC decisions and affects sentiment at the equities market. What is happening to your investment?
Or would you rather go digital? We track all the volatility in the crypto market.
Get the answers from the business team every weekday at 1 p.m. on Business Incorporated, only on Channels Television.
There are 1,001 ways to start your day.
Whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria,
In London or anywhere in the world.
Or online.
We all want a perfect start to our day, don't we?
7 a.m. Every weekday, we bring you a better way to start your day. Modern lifestyle requires a lot of energy, backed up by intense production processes, which impact the environment in more ways than one.
The world has realized that you cannot deal with climate change without looking at loss of biodiversity.
On Edo Africa, nature speaks and the discerning mind becomes champion of sustainable living.
One thing we want to do is to change public behavior around recycling.
Watch Edo Africa on Channels Television and find out what nature is saying.
It's a fast beat, unpredictable and full of surprises. The unforgettable moments, unprecedented passion, the victories and defeats in the world of sports makes it engaging. Fasten your seatbelts as we take you through every update in the news and on our shows. We define the moments of true sports. Join us.
I'm Ifeoma Williams, your guide on this transformative journey.
Welcome to Transform Her, the first of its kind on-air coaching program exclusively on Channels Television.
I define a product as that perfect thing that people are ready to part with their money for.
In a male-dominated environment, being required to uphold a position of leadership.
The good, the bad, the ugly, they all pull together to make you this woman and this person that you can be.
Join us in shaping the future of African female leadership as we provide practical resources for entrepreneurs and aspiring C-suite leaders. Every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. West African time, we bring you expert interviews, transformative coaching, and the tools you need for exponential personal and professional growth. Transform Her, because it's time to unlock your potential and lead with purpose.
Thank you so much, everyone. On some days, technology just have a mind of its own, and it just wants to fairly. But I understand now that the Rec of Mr. Onoha is still with us. Rec, can you hear me? Rec, I don't know if you're still there for us. All right, then, it does look like we're having difficulty. Maybe we'll just move on to some other things. Mr. Onoha, the resident electoral commissioner for Edo State, who has been speaking with us until we had the technical glitch. We thought that we could be able to reconnect with him and conclude our conversation as to what INEC did today and perhaps what to expect as the results are trickling in. And of course, we're still looking at the result. The IRF, we're keeping tabs on what is on the IRF. 4,188 results are fully uploaded out of the 4,519. That is 92.68%. So, of course, anyone can check it out and see for yourself what the results are and what is being uploaded. We go on another quick break, everyone. When we return, analysis, breaking it down for you about all this election, every aspect of it. We will be doing that right after this break, everyone. Join us again.
There are 1,001 ways to start your day.
whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria,
in London or anywhere in the world,
or online.
We all want a perfect start to our day, don't we?
7 a.m. Every weekday, we bring you a better way to start your day. There are places you would like to go. There are faces you would like to see.
My palm is bruised. It's a tiny scar, but it's very painful.
Too many exciting things happening all at once.
From time I've always loved playing the villain.
But you can't be everywhere. Guess what? Yes, we can. Your favorite lifestyle content lives here. Let us be your eyes and ears here on Entertainment News on Channels Television. No matter where they are, if it concerns the people, we are there. From community game changers to homemade solution providers, where assurance and trust are built.
Policing should be people from the community who do the job. You don't bring an outsider.
We hear about Amotekun. We've not seen much of them around this area.
Documenting journeys of many starting big from a small place. Creating an intentional community where people go beyond living together to building strong and more friendly communities. Community Report, only on Channels Television.
Everyone for staying with us. I told you that we are up to some analysis about some data and some information that are very crucial for this election. Samson Todo, the executive director of Yiaga Africa, has since joined me on the program. Thank you so much, Samson, for joining us.
Always a delight to be here.
Has been the day for you?
It's been a very long day. You don't look like you went to the field, even though you spent most of your time on the field today.
Absolutely.
But it's been a great day. I think all the debates, the discussions, the concerns, the fears, it does appear that most of the interventions did work because the election was largely peaceful. And as we were asking the question whether those 3 tests we talked about yesterday, whether they passed that test
or not.
Well,
indeed.
The discussion was
unfortunately, a few of those tests were the things that I was going to ask the REC, whether those tests from INEC point of view were passed. And of course, let's take a look at Samson and his colleagues. There is what they call PVT, and watching the vote, it's being a scientific model for monitoring the election, and that Yiaga Africa has done that over the last few years in monitoring our elections, and they put all of that. They could easily project into the election and also give a scientific back into how a result, whether or not the result is valid or invalid. So let's begin with the 3 big tests that you talked about.
But before we begin, a lot of people have asked me the question, what happened to Iran? Because it's Channels TV and Yiaga Africa's creation. And the explanation is, since the Supreme Court, decided that the IREV is not part of the collation process, and the collation process is still manual, and that INEC or the National Assembly needs to amend the Electoral Act and give legal backing to the IREV. That is why, we didn't deploy the IRAD, because we looked at the cost-benefit analysis, because it cost a lot of money, to do that. But if the National Assembly passes the law and makes electronic transmission, compulsory, then we'll be back with IRAD. But we're exploring the AI-powered IRAD. But to the question, did they pass the resilience test? Because the resilience test was whether voters were going to show up, whether they were going to defy, the warning signs of violence and the rainfall to show up to protect their votes. Well, we're not at the place where we answer that question yet. But if what we saw on the field today, is something to hold on to, then it looks like that test was partially answered. Because even though there was rainfall that disrupted, the elections, there were still voters who were resilient. They stood in the rain to cast their vote. So that's some level of resilience. So we can say they passed the resilience test partially. Well, we'll wait to see what the official turnout figure will be before we draw a conclusion on whether the turnout was low. But from what we saw, it does appear that we might have not recorded any significant.
From experience, it's very delicate to call a turnout until you have the figure of how many people actually come out. It's difficult to tell a turnout by just mere seeing heads of people or seeing people literally in the polling unit. It's very deceitful until you have the figures.
Yes, until you have that exact figures that come. Because for an election of this nature where, we all predicted low turnout due to either economic hardship, the harsh weather conditions, or even
the conduct of politicians
and the threats, and the early warning signs of violence, those reasons are valid, because when you speak to voters, they tell you, the political environment is tense, there's no way they're going to show up to cast their vote. But what's really, really disappointing, if you look at the polling units that we went to, this is a state, majority of those who are actually on the ballot are young people, and it's just sad to see that there are not too many young people that showed up to cast their vote, because if they did, then perhaps we would have been recording sort of higher levels of turnout. You go to a polling unit with about 1,700, voters, you would see just either 100 or 200 thereabouts. But we wait for that official figures, and like you mentioned at Yiaga Africa with the PVT, we can actually release and project estimates of turnout. We're holding on to that figure, just checking this collation process.
Absolutely.
Before we release that figure.
It's actually interesting to see that the manner in which the IREV is being populated. It's one of the fastest that I've seen in an off-cycle election now. But we see how, don't let us rejoice just yet, because we do not know the quality of what has been
That's
uploaded.
what I was going to say. But it's good to see that, yes, these uploads, are there. It's over 90%. Let's wait. Let's keep monitoring. But I think for the collation officers who are out there, especially at the wards, I think they need to be put on notice that we are all watching this process, and that if they make any attempts to manipulate the collation, they will be detected, and we hope that INEC takes action. But let's give them the benefit of doubt, because the process is still on.
So resilience test, partially. So impartiality test, how far do you think?
Yes, on the impartiality test was really about security agencies and whether they were going to be impartial, in the conduct of this process. Well, so far so good. You actually commend security agencies for the job that they did. If you look at what the police did eve to the elections, trying to disarm, thugs were in possession of, small and light arms. Again, it just really validates. And I say civil society and even the media have been vindicated, because prior to this election, we were all raising the alarm that there's really proliferation of light arms. You have increased activities of cult groups. But did they act professionally? I'd say in some cases they did, but there are cases where they intimidated observers. I know of observer groups and, in fact, renowned civil society leaders who were stopped by police, asked to come down from their cars, to introduce themselves before they were let into the car, even in the rain. And those kinds of intimidation are not really acceptable, and we must actually condemn that.
It's probably taken too far.
There were also isolated cases where security agents also prevented observers from carrying their job, even when INEC officials did identify that these observer groups were accredited by INEC, but they were very overbearing. And these are the kinds of attitude that we shouldn't see on an election. So I will hold on whether they pass the impartiality test, because the process is still on. It's not concluded yet, because if they prevent accredited observers and media and party agents from accessing the collation centers, then you can't say that they passed the test. So we hold on to that, and let's keep observing the process.
Integrity test.
This is the big one, because the biggest challenge in today's election lies here, and that's the question as to whether, INEC was going to deploy materials promptly to the polling units, and as we will see in subsequent slide, we might have answered this question. I think for the other question, they relate to, collation, but I think it's important, Sheon, that we stress the point here, and you made the point earlier about cancellation. Where there is overvoting, the law is very clear under Section 51, sub 2 of the Electoral Act, that when there is overvoting, the consequential action is to do what? Is to cancel the votes for that particular location. If the collation officers proceed to collate results where there is already overvoting, then that particular action, to the extent, is null and is void, and INEC needs to take action. And this is where we urge party agents, we urge observers who are in the collation centers to keep their eye, including media organizations.
It's critical, but let's look at some other issues. And I know that through the PVT, and you monitored how early in the sampling that you made, is not very encouraging. So let's go to the next slide to look at what exactly are the statistics or what you observed in the commencement of the exercise. And you say that by 7:30 a.m., INEC officials had arrived at 41% of polling unit. I think that is a low marking for INEC in this election. Logistics, operational issues. This is what I said yesterday. INEC, this is a major disease. And I said it's like malaria to INEC. Well, I hate to be, I hate to say I said it, but I mean, with the benefit of experience doing this same thing over and over again, sometimes you sound like a prophet. Yet again, INEC, malaria that beats INEC every other year, has beaten INEC again, and INEC is not getting the right malaria medication, and yet they're falling ill and sick of this same ailment.
INEC guidelines was very clear that this morning at 7:30, the officials were expected to arrive the polling station. Because when INEC deployed the materials on Thursday from the CBN to the local government, and on Friday from local government to the racks, the whole essence is to ensure that the materials are closer to the polling units. So on the day of election, like today, it is closer so they can move from the racks to the polling units. But in only 41% of polling units did INEC record, arrival at 7:30. That's even below, below average, and that's really problematic. And we can talk about the reasons, because there are several reasons, because I was out on the field in one of the racks here in Oredo local government, where I saw, the officials were ready, but there wasn't any vehicle to convey the officials. In fact, the security agencies were also there, prepared, ready, but there wasn't any vehicle.
In some cases, the vehicles were ready. The ad hoc officials were ready. They were looking for security operatives to escort them out of the rack center. So there were issues, and understandably, for a lot of people who understand how election works, INEC is just at the center of it all. INEC needs the support of every agency. It's like a football match. When FIFA organizes a football match, it's a FIFA game. Yep. When UEFA organizes a game, it's a UEFA game. Whatever problem comes out of it, and I think that we need to start thinking, just like the Yiaga era of INEC thought about using NYSC, just like the Yiaga era looked into using alternative method for accreditation, I think it is high time we now think about how we probably jettison ballot papers, because in our own lives in private sector, we are talking about paperless environment. Yeah. And all this logistics problem, what are they carrying? Ballot papers, ballot boxes. And there are ways that we can digitally monitor our elections or conduct our elections, that all of those operational issues will be cut away, I think.
I totally agree with you. We need to think about that. But more importantly, it's just unacceptable the way our transport unions, sabotage our electoral process. It's just unacceptable. And if this is a recurring decimal. We cannot be doing the same thing over and over again and expect the same result. So we have to rethink. I don't know, are we just tied to the apron strings of, this transport union? Because you see what happened, even when INEC agreed, to the new proposals that they made due to the hike in fuel prices, they all accepted. But as at last night and even this morning, some of the transporters, even when INEC had paid them, they were claiming that they couldn't get fuel. They were claiming that they didn't have access to cash, to buy fuel. And that's why they left some of the officials stranded in some of those cases. But the question is there consequence for this action? Is there consequence for defaulting on a contractual obligation that you all signed to? I don't think that is a consequence, because if there were, then the kind of impunity that we see on the part of our transport workers on the day of elections will not be the case.
And I dare say that the level and the attitude of some of the transporters or some of the drivers taking some of these people, it does not look like they're on the same page with INEC. It doesn't look like they share the dream of executing a good election. And that's a sad.
My conclusion. This logistical challenge is not accidental. This logistical challenge, to a large extent, is intentional. Because we are told in public policy, if something happens once, it is accidental. If it happens twice, it is a trend. If it happens 3 times, it's substantive proof. In 2016, it happened. In 2020, it happened. In 2023, we are here having the same discussion about logistical issues. So I can't say that it is accidental if you look at the trends.
I think that the most important department in INEC these days is the operation and the logistics unit of INEC. And I think for some reasons, whether or not they need to be reschooled, retooled, but there needs to be a rejigging in that department. INEC has become a fundamentally operational failure institution. And that is a fact. Because from 2011 up until last election, logistic problem has become INEC's nightmare. And the nation has suffered for it. If as an institution you keep having the same problem and you're not looking at scientific ways of solving it, then it's a disaster. Yeah. So INEC needs to start. It's high time we stopped talking about operational and logistic problems as though we are people under some rocks, or we're some people so laid back that we cannot solve our problems. It's embarrassing.
It's not just a national problem. It's also an attack on our democratic institution. Because check it out. There are people who would have been disenfranchised as a result of this logistical hiccup. Because for some, when they saw the news that elections were not holding at their polling units, some people went back. We may not account for the number of people who went home and didn't show up to cast their vote, because when they showed up at the polling unit, INEC officials, had not arrived. And these are the issues that really require addressing. And I think it will take a constellation of efforts to fix this problem. But it has to be political will.
So people need to understand, by 7:30 a.m., INEC officials had arrived at 41%. What it means is that
polling, yes.
Absolutely. So what it means that if this is the figure of the sampling that you got, it means that at 7:30 a.m., that is 1 hour before the commencement of the exercise. If you're not arriving here, it just gives a reason why the exercise started late. So let's move to the next slide. And if you look at the delayed arrival of INEC officials across senatorial district as at 7:30 a.m. according to Yiaga Africa's PVT and sampling model, this is what we got. In Edo North, 68% as at 7:30 a.m., Edo Central 38%, and Edo South 58%. It's unfortunate that this is around the city, the capital of the state, and you have a 58%. And in fact, we were in Oredo where we set up our live equipment, and yet we were seeing the delay in the movement. Up until a few minutes before 9 a.m., people are still unable to move around. That 8%, this is very sad. Bad figure in terms of logistic organization. Edo North, for some reasons, I think they thought that this is far-flung, and they did a lot of work, and things were better compared to, in fact, in the city where you should have seen a better reaction.
Well, Shanwu, you've said it all. Data does not lie, and this is the exact picture of what transpired today. And this is where we have to ask questions. Some questions we may not get the answers tonight, but this is to help us rethink and look at the patterns and the trend as we wait the final conclusion of this process with the results collation. But this is the way it looks this morning in terms of the distribution across the senatorial districts.
All right, then from there, let's move on and look at what we also saw in terms of commencement of accreditation and voting in polling units across the state. So 70% by 8:30 a.m., 64% 9:30 a.m., 1 hour after the official commencement period. And so this is also very disappointing, isn't it?
It is very disappointing because accreditation and voting was meant to start at 8:30 a.m. But what you see is if you have late arrival, definitely you would have late commencement, because when the officials arrive, they are expected to set up the polling units. They are expected to do what you call voter education, to speak to the people or explain the procedure. They are also expected to call the party agents and disclose all the materials. All of that are part of the setup procedure. And so it takes about, 1 hour to do that. But as at 8:30 a.m. this morning, accreditation and voting only commenced in 17%. So it's clear there was a difficult start in today's elections. But 1 hour later, the figure rose to about 64%. So by 9:30 a.m., in 64% of polling units, accreditation and voting had commenced. Whilst this may be over 50%, but it's also problematic, because what it tells you is that you have over 34 percent of polling units where accreditation and voting had not commenced. In an ideal situation, we're supposed to be recording 100%. The fact that we have 64% as a result of those factors is problematic in itself.
So I see something here, African time, that played out here. And so people will say, it's 8:30 a.m., we can do it. 9:30 a.m. is not too bad idea. But 1 hour after the official commencement of the exercise, in 64% at 9:30 a.m., not good at all. Let's move on and let's see what the political parties. This is a major problem for political parties when they cry foul as to, this went wrong. In your representation on the ground matters for those who have your eyes and your interest on the ground. So party agent deployment across the state. So we picked 3 major political parties here, and this is what Yiaga Africa came up with. So in most of the polling units across the state, 98% of polling units, we had the APC agents present. In most of the polling units, 77% of Labour Party were present, and 99% we have PDP. It does look like PDP understood the game more than any of the political parties on the roll.
If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, INEC released the data of the number of party agents, as well as the political parties and the number of agents that they deployed. And what you see on the field is actually consistent, with what INEC published, because the 2 main political parties had the highest number of party agents. So as you can see, across the sampled polling units, there's huge presence of party agents. So if you extrapolate, what it simply means is at least in all the 4,519 polling units, the APC and the PDP had their party agents, but the Labour Party did not have party agents in all the polling units. What this says is they've got their eyes on the process, and so whatever comes out of that process, they are all in a better position, to explain and also verify if the process in their polling units was indeed transparent.
Let's move on quickly and let's look at voting in commencement of accreditation and voting in polling units across central districts at 9:30 a.m., giving a 1 hour margin from the official start. So from Edo South to Edo Central and Edo North, what we're seeing that is better is in Edo Central.
Yeah.
The other time it was Edo North that we saw at the commencement of or the arrival of. So this time around, the commencement of the exercise itself, it does look at Edo Central and a better outing than any of the central districts.
Absolutely. That's just the map as at 9:30 a.m. Again, consistent with the previous trend. And as we go through the results collation process, we would also see how and what's the turnover from those particular locations. But this is where it actually stands, because the big question we will be asking at the end of the day is where these who was disproportionately affected by the logistical challenge, and which voters, were affected. And those are the kind of analysis that we will be looking at when we see the final.
And who to blame.
And who to blame.
Because we need to name names so that we can have correction going forward.
Absolutely.
So let's look at the issue of vote buying, which is a major issue.
Today,
a very big headache as far as our elections are concerned. Some people will say poverty is a major problem, one of the reasons. But I dare say there are other issues to it. So the incidence of vote buying, from what we have observed, what do we know? The major political parties that are culprits.
Absolutely. Last night we were here, we talked about, what are the major concerns. And one of the predictions that we made at Yiaga Africa was that we expect that the polling units will become epicenters of vote buying today. And that's exactly what happened today. You can see that votes sold for as high as 10,000 naira per voter in these 6 local governments. Across the local governments, there was actually vote buying, but in these 6 local governments, we had specific reports and polling units where votes traded for 10,000 naira per voter, and the 2 major political parties were the culprits in this particular case. But what is even more disturbing is that if the police and the security agencies deployed massively, could it be that this happened in the presence of security officials? And we can say, because our data shows that in 98% of polling units, sampled polling units, there was security presence. The big question is, what did the security agencies do when votes were being traded for this amount? Yes, the EFCC made some arrests, in Oredo, like we saw, and also in Ego local government. Commend the EFCC for that action. But across the different parts of the states, the level of vote buying in this election is one that is unacceptable and really needs to be condemned, because 10,000 naira per vote is really troubling. And so maybe what you would see at the end of the day could be a purchased outcome and not necessarily the free choice that people have made, because an election that is decided by the highest spender is not really an election.
So you need to ask yourself, am I going to fill my tummy and my stomach today to trade for the future of yourself and that of your children? These are critical questions that voters needed to ask themselves. But on a final note, let's look at the upload of results, which is a transparency mechanism for the average person in the society to pick up their devices, their telephone, their iPads, their computers, as long as you have internet. And you can go to the INEC IREF portal. You can see for yourself. Click on the words, click on the polling unit, and you will be able to access and know what the results are. But at Yiaga, you said 3,585 results
this was
uploaded.
As at 5:30.
But it's
because the speed
is way over
now.
5.
It should be somewhere around 95%, and I'm sure they will pull that up. It should be somewhere around 95%. It's good to see this speed of uploads. What it simply says is that yes, there's tremendous progress. But what we want Nigerians and the voters in Edo State, including those who are watching this process, is to be vigilant, especially in places where there are discrepancies in the results relating to overvoting. The law is very clear. If the total number of votes cast, is exceeds the number of accredited voters or exceeds the number of registered voters in that particular polling unit, they ought to be cancelled. So let's be vigilant. Let's watch this process and see how INEC actually applies the rule. But we need to also call on the collation officers that this job is a national assignment. And in their hands and in those pens that they hold is deciding the destiny of 2.2 million people who have PVCs. And it's a huge responsibility. We urge them to exercise that with a lot of integrity, transparency, and accountability.
Yeah. 93.56%, that is a percentage of the upload that we know for now. Out of the 4,519 results, we have 4,228. I think it's looking good as far as, and the face value.
Yes. We have to be cautious.
Yeah. And they said the taste of the food is in the eat, or the pudding is in the eating. Yeah. So not until you dig your hand into your fingers into those results, word by word, unit by unit, for you to be able to know the quality of the result. Because not only seeing an item in it, it's also knowing what is in it.
But we also need to be careful, because if you look at some results where they are turning out 100%, turnout, we should raise some questions and scrutinize those results.
Yeah.
This is why coalition officers need to be very vigilant, because we've watched elections and followed elections all our life. It's just practically impossible, for that, especially given the turnout that we see in this election. So it's just practically impossible to turn out 100%.
The REC is worried that people are posting results here and there, and a few people had gone into some of the portal and the IREV, and they've identified mutilation of the results, where the number of accredited voters are lower than the number of some of the performances and the results in that some political parties came out with. And this is discrepancy as far as the eyes can see. The number of accredited voters need to tally with the total number of results, including the one that is rejected or mutilated during the collation or sorting of the results. So eyes are on the ballot. It is not over until it is over. Be vigilant, not only when you cast your ballot, but also when you are checking, because they say that vigilance
is the price you pay for liberty.
All right. We'll take a break, everyone. Thank you so much, Samson Itodo. And good job. My regards to you and your colleagues at Yiaga Africa. We'll take a break. Much more to talk about. A lot of talking points that we'll be driving now and bringing up in the course of this program. I'm not done yet with you, so don't go anywhere. I've got some very fantastic human beings that will be doing so much analysis for us. We'll be right back, everyone. Stay with us.
and cable. Great quality, now with the new look.
Join the excitement with Betano, the premier sports betting platform in Nigeria and proud official partner of Aston Villa. Enjoy our award-winning experience with fantastic betting options, cash out, and engaging missions. Discover even more exclusive features. Join now and receive a welcome bonus of up to 200,000 naira. Betano. The game starts now.
When you think of Nigeria, do you see the potential for greatness? Then you might be exactly who we're looking for. We're seeking young founders, visionaries, and change makers in the business of doing good. Do you run an innovative startup that takes on one or more of Nigeria's social challenges? If you want to win a 30 million naira grant, expert mentorship, and access to an exclusive network of influential business leaders, your journey begins here. Apply now to be a contestant on the second season of our thrilling social enterprise competition show, Fund It Forward. Apply now at www.funditforward.tv. Fund It Forward, a channel's original series. Coming soon.
And cable. Great quality, now with the new look.
Nigeria is blessed with iconic wildlife. Elephants, gorillas, pangolins, and so much more. But these beautiful animals are threatened by illegal logging and poaching. And we will lose our national heritage if we don't stand up for wildlife. So please report wildlife crimes and say no to illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature protects our future.
No matter where they are, if it concerns the people, we are there. From community game changers to homemade solution providers, where assurance and trust are built.
Policing should be people from the community who do the job. You don't bring an outsider.
We hear about Amotekun. We've not seen much of them around this area.
Documenting journeys of many starting big from a small place. Creating an intentional community where people go beyond living together to building strong and more friendly communities. Community Report, only on Channels Television.
In every show, we bring you closer to the fastest growing movie industry in the world. From the making to the premiere. Get up close and personal with the stars and industry captains, plus reviews and much more. Nollywood Uncut, every week at these times.
Modern lifestyle requires a lot of energy, backed up by intense production processes, which impact the environment in more ways than one.
The world has realized that you cannot deal with climate change without looking at loss of biodiversity.
On Edo Africa, nature speaks and the discerning mind becomes champion of sustainable living.
One thing we want to do is to change public behavior around recycling.
Watch Edo Africa on Channels Television and find out what nature is saying. There are 1,001 ways to start your day.
Whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria,
in London or anywhere in the world,
or online.
We all want a perfect start to our day, don't we?
7 a.m. Every weekday, we bring you a better way to start your day.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on our continued coverage of the Edo Governorship election 2024. I'm being joined for more analysis and assessment of the exercise by the Executive Director of TAF Africa, a disability advocate and election observer, Mr. Yiaga Africa, who himself has become an elder statesman of some sort. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you. Appreciate it. And also being joined by Chief Adam, a member of the Situation Room. Thanks so much, Adam, for joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you. Guys, how did the election go? First and foremost, a lot of anticipation. It does look like adrenaline was pumping. You imagine a lot of people talking about the Edo election. They are not even in, no links to Edo State. They do not even know anything about Edo State. But I'm not surprised though, because off-cycle election has that kind of attention. Jack, from your own point of view, assessment, what do you make of it?
Well, I think, Shane, first and foremost, I want to, on behalf of Nigerians, thank you and Channel Television for what you have done in the political space.
Thank you.
You've given election coverage. You've taken it to another level.
Thank you.
And it's impressive that you're also very inclusive in your reportage.
Thank you.
That said, it's well, a little bit disappointing because your last segment, you were talking about logistical problem. This is something that we discussed on your show, and we told INEC times without number, it's time to change these...
The modules.
Yes. And bring it... Look, there are a lot of people that would have done a better job, at even sometimes less expensive. I don't know why we are still having this logistical problem. And INEC have not come to address it so that it will not be repeating itself. So we did, indeed, we had logistical problems in this election. Delivery and starting the election on time, delivery of materials and starting the election was a huge problem. The other thing is nature calling. The rain also contributed to a bit of slowness in kickstarting some of the polling unit starting and all that. But we still find a lot of voter apathy, at least from the perspective of my community. Many of them did not come out. From
the PWDs, people living with disability.
The people with disability.
But I thought there were Braille ballot papers.
No,
I thought we've advanced.
Not in all cases. Not in all cases. There's polling unit that I went to that in our data analysis, because what we did in TAF Africa was to deploy based and guided by data. And we got to some of those polling units, the resources were not there. And I think that's why I made an all effort to reach this rec, because INEC has enough resources that would have gone round, and my concern is why is it that they didn't take advantage of those resources? There were enough magnifying glasses, there were enough braille jackets, there were enough posters, you know. Why is it that they didn't take advantage of that? It's a question that only him can answer. But overall, I think we have what I would describe as above average performance.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, have we seen INEC perform better than this in the past? In an off-cycle election?
No, well, it's still not concluded. We're still in the midst of it. However, I think I've seen them do much better in some other off-cycle election than they did in this particular one.
Adam, let me get your overall, Mr. Yiaga Africa's own overall assessment, in your own view, giving a global perspective and a global view of what you saw. How would you assess the exercise?
Okay, let me just go a step backward regarding your first question. My assessment and why there's so much interest is as a result of, one, attributing to your program. There has been a lot of awareness around what is going on within the incumbent government and the past government and the different shift in party, including the deputy governor issues and all that. That, again, really raised a lot of concern and a lot of interest to see how the election will be and how it will look like. So generally, being in Edo State since yesterday, I've also seen that there have been a lot of preparation in terms of security, in terms of the INEC ad hoc staffs. I've been to the rec centers and have also discussed with some of the ad hoc staff, and I realized that some of them slept there. And I think that that was also in a bid for INEC to see that those logistics and operational issues were put in check. But again, they did not, from our own assessment from the situation room, what we realized was that about 50% of the materials did not arrive on time, okay? And even as at 9:30, some of the polling units did not start accreditation process. But again, I also want to give it up to the security. There were a lot of security on ground. Some of the polling unit had up to like 5 security personnel. I also saw EFCC also in some of the polling booths trying to check out for those that are doing vote trading and vote buying and a whole lot of others.
I know Situation Room has had a preliminary report, yes, which I like to engage you on and see what is on the minds of the members of the Situation Room. And I mean, there have been great men who have been part of the Situation Room. So I know it's a combination, and it's a part of a lot of fantastic human beings who understand our democracy and our elections. But let me come back quickly to Mr. Epele. Give us an understanding in terms of security. Let's begin with security assessment. In terms of security, how would you rate this election? The professionalism of the security agencies and police will have to be stood out because they are more in number and they are at the center of the organization of this election as far as security is concerned.
I think I'll speak on, specifically on two perspectives. One is neutrality, how neutral they are. The other one is, and I'll start with the last, which is how they've been able to carry themselves, in terms of professionalism, conduct, character, and integrity when it comes to security. Well, first and foremost, my good friend, I have known, and I know what he stands for and what he's standing for. I think there was something that I experienced this morning that I needed to flag up. I was on my way to the polling unit, and it was raining cats and dogs, and we got to a particular post, and a gentleman, and I think his senior officer, was there. So I beckoned on him because they stopped us, and he insisted that I must get out into the rain to come and answer him, otherwise they should pack me, So the guy who was driving me was going to get angry. I told him, don't worry. So I stepped out, and he said, no, we want to see your boots. I opened the boot. He looked at it, and now the attention shifted. Sir, please, can you identify yourself? And I didn't want to, I didn't, not necessarily because I was hiding anything, but I just didn't want him to treat me differently if he knows who I am, So, but he insisted, so I pulled up my eye and I saw, oh, is this man that we've been seeing on TV?
You feel profiled?
Yeah.
You felt profiled, like
yes,
someone was profiled.
Exactly, and that puts me on an edge, and I'm like, Is this how this election is going to run? Is this what they are going to do? And he allowed us, we passed. Got to this, I saw a different scenario. I saw security personnel that was respectful. There were, that I was asking them questions around inclusivity. And I said, listen, if you see a person with disability, do you know? They said, no, we know you people have a priority voting and all that. We would, so in terms of what I've read and some of our first release and the mid-election release, there's been a bit of non-neutrality. They've not, I don't think, because they are, again, allegations of some of the other political parties, opponents and all that, the news about federal might, some people have been picked up and locked up and all that. Those are allegations because I'm not there, I haven't seen. But generally speaking, I think I will score the security agencies as at this moment, maybe 45%. I don't think they got my pass mark in general. But also, Sheung, what happens when there is a state of insecurity? Voter apathy will set in. People will be too afraid to come out and engage the system. And I think there's a need for continuous training and engagement of the security agencies in the electoral process so that they will understand their roles and responsibilities. I like the fact that the Nigerian police has created a whole department for security election, manned by a commissioner of police. That's a good way to start. I'm also happy that the police now have disability desk officers, across the state. That's a good thing, But then what you do in this kind of situation where you are expected to be an umpire, you're not expected to be on the side of any political party. The police should be apolitical.
But I've got it, and I don't know, my view, and sometimes it doesn't matter anyways, because I'm just a journalist who reports what I see. I do not think that we, as a people who are poor in that sense, who do not have the money to really cater for the poorest of our poor, have any business spending and exerting so much of effort in conducting elections. We're not in a war situation. We're not in an emergency situation. All the security apparatus of this country are put to test because of election. I do think that we are frivolous. We are more or less like a child that is
guided.
Over pampered child. I do think that we need to be creative in the manner in which we conduct our elections, such that we don't have to put on the street the best of our security agencies just because citizen wants to participate in a civic exercise, not in a war situation. Adam, I mean, you are the expert here.
For us, we feel that the INEC and citizens should have a consultative forum where other strategies could be discussed and agreed on how best should we handle our election going forward that will not involve so much resources, so much security. And again, the security at some point, because I think it's just because of tension and also other insecurity that based on propaganda and also based on some statements made by highly influential politicians or political parties that also give rooms for this. But I also think that if security is seriously discussed among stakeholders, some prior to the election, then some of those people that are maybe making public pronouncement, intimidating voters and intimidating the opponents should be like maybe put behind the bar, or so that they can give room for a peaceful and fair election. Then moving forward, we are in the era of technology. Is there a way we can also learn from others and then deploy technology in such a way that even when we don't need to shut down the whole country, we don't need to shut down the whole state when elections are conducted, we deploy technology in the sense that even while you are doing your normal business, you can as well vote. Maybe open your app and vote, and then for other citizens that do not have access to modern technology, maybe like those people in the rural areas, then those are the people that can be, maybe we give some certain, make some certain provisions to cater for them.
I think, if I may weigh in, Shem, the insecurity in the electoral process, the culprits are the politicians, the political parties. They create the problem. They present the state of insecurity that requires this level of deployment of security personnel, which is telling on the taxpayers' money, because many of them will get some form of allowances. Even if you don't get allowances, you have to travel all the way from neighboring states, to come and be part of a very bogus electoral security architecture. The political class are totally responsible for the state of insecurity in the electoral process. If the political parties will behave themselves, the politicians will behave themselves. For us citizens, we don't really have issue about creating unnecessary insecurity problems. They are the one that foments the trouble. They are the one that pays for people that will go and break people's head and carry guns. They are absolutely and totally responsible. If they will behave themselves, then we don't need this bogus security presentation in an electoral process.
I mean, sometimes when you are challenged in one way, you get creative. And I think it's that moment that we need to be creative in such a way that we need to find easier paths or less expensive pathways in conducting our elections. Our elections are just too expensive.
Too expensive.
It costs almost $1 billion or more to conduct a governorship election in a place where the average person finds it difficult to feed. It is just outrageous for you to want to conduct a governorship. It's an election for one seat, for over $1 billion naira. It doesn't make sense.
That's just for the electoral body. Yeah. Don't forget. You don't want to know how much the
political parties
the political parties.
Man, I do think
a whole lot of.
I mean, in the age where we're talking about paperless, we're talking about e-commerce, we're talking about how people can bank without. In fact, some banks these days they do not even require any signature, hard copied signature. Everything is e.
I've never written a check for the past 3, 4, 5 years.
Absolutely, and you do your transactions easily. And so why does it have to be our democracy that has to be taken to the Stone Age when every aspect of our lives have been taken digital? I've gone digital. I just think it's a moment that we as a people need to come together and start rethinking these processes.
Yeah, let me just come in here. I think that the challenge we're having, even looking at the cost of governance, is being caused by the political elites because they make these laws. Take, for instance, some years back, and even as at last year, there were issues about using electronic device in the election to vote. And these were technology that we're trying to introduce in such a way that it could also give our election some credibility, transparency, and all that. But yet, you will still have politicians that are sitting down making the laws that does not allow these things to function very well. So I think that it is still our politicians that are causing this. So by the time we begin to make some of these public offices less lucrative, then we should be able to do our election without so much interest, so much funding, and so much spending.
One area that also calls for attention is money politics and vote buying. I don't know if you saw any of those nature. I know Situation Room. From your report, what can you tell us about vote buying?
Okay. For us, we saw issues around vote buying in some polling units, and it ranges between 5,000 to 10,000. And even this evening, when I went to some collation center, I later learned that it went up to about 30,000 naira.
Per vote?
Yes, per vote. And we had other locations where the EFCC also arrested some of those politicians or thugs that came to do those vote trading and then took them away. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Shenwu, you're a journalist. Can you tell me one or two persons that you know that have gone to jail as a result of vote buying? So I'm not interested in the arrest. It's what happens after the arrest, you know. But again, it's practically impossible that we will be lying to ourselves if we didn't expect that there's going to be vote buying. One, the economic situation, you know, that's not an excuse. I don't also subscribe to the notion that, you know, some people say, well, take the money, but vote your conscience. You cannot take the money and say you want to vote your conscience. In the first place, you have violated the law by taking the money. It doesn't matter who you vote. It doesn't matter if you don't vote at all, you know. So the economic situation, which is not an excuse, is grossly responsible for the inducement of those who succumb to taking the money from them and then voting for them, you know. And then intimidation too. Sometimes you are at a crossroad because they say you either take the money or you face them, you know, Togri and the rest of them. So this issue of vote buying needs to be front and center in conversation, just like we're having it. But let's have it at the point where we can take very impactful decisions that can stem the tide of vote buying, because it's destroying the entire electoral system. And as I look into this camera, I want to talk to Nigerians that the only power you have is your vote. Once you sell it, you have given that power to somebody who does not qualify to represent you. And the moment you make that choice, you have made yourself powerless. So your vote is your power. When you sell it, you have sold your power, and the generation unborn will not forget you and will not forgive you, because you have given the destiny and the soul of the nation, handed it over to unqualified leader that you don't even know what he's going to do. So I think it's important to underscore and underpin this issue, because we must deal with it.
Yeah, I think just to add, I think we also have, as civil society, we feel so concerned that the way as security operatives and law enforcement agencies operate or treat criminal offenses during electoral process or election period is very, very different outside election. If, for instance, you see people coming to trade votes with money, okay, and you apprehend these people, then they should face the law. You see people coming with arms to destroy electoral materials, they should face, once they are arrested, they should face the law. And you should treat them like normal criminal offense, okay? But yet we see our law enforcement agencies playing more or less a double standard. And for us as civil society organization, we are very worried and concerned about this double standard.
But I mean, one area where I would like us to anchor is presence and the seriousness of party political parties in their representation on the ground and the polling units. And you saw in the analysis how the percentage, and the situation room, you gave a position on the presence of party agents. Let me begin with you, Adam. What can you tell us as in that respect? Are you disappointed about the representation of party agents? Because the parties are represented by their agents on the ground. If there will be any manipulation, it's their agents that will be able to detect it.
Yeah, for us, today we recorded a kind of different percentage based on what we saw. For APC, on the average, we saw about 41% of party agents. For Labour Party, about 13%. For PDP, 25%. For PRP, 5%. And for other parties, it was less than 2%. And for us, we feel so concerned that if actually you are ready to protect your mandate, your vote, then you should be able to have your party agents in every polling unit, as well as the coalition center. But whereby you don't have that, then you're also giving room for manipulation. And again, it's not just also having party agents. You should be able to brief your party agents on what to expect, what to look out for, and also to raise the red flag where things goes wrong. Yeah.
Well, this calls for INEC to take a second look at the political parties. Many of them don't have the structure and the organization. Very many of them have very limited presence, despite all the noise that they make. Many of them don't have the capacity to deploy party agents because you're going to have to pay them, and you're going to make sure that they are trained to know what to do. I think it's important to underscore the fact that elections are won and lost at the polling unit. If you don't have party agents who are representing the interest of your political party to make sure that the right things are done, not necessarily to push for your party to win when you don't have the vote, but to follow through the process. So it's a systemic problem within the political parties, and the fact that many of them lack the structure, many of them don't even have, of course, the issue of them being organized as an institution, it's a major problem, and so this can be a moment that INEC will have to re-examine the political parties. The fact that you're registered does not mean you are registered forever. If you don't meet certain thresholds, you can be deregistered, and I think many of them have lost that grip of a political party that have a national presence, So there are many political parties that have no representation. There's nobody representing them. So, why would you keep such a semblance of a bogus political party? But it's like a structure without a foundation.
Yeah, I like us to close, but there is a concern that a political party, the ruling party, is raising, and they are alleging that there are plans to overturn the result using security agents, and they are raising an alarm on these, and they're saying that there are plans to manipulate and withdraw coalition center security to pave way for manipulation, and they're pushing INEC to terminate election process. This is an allegation coming from the ruling party against the opposition, and I want us to close on that note. That is dangerous if it's true, but how valid is this kind of allegation when it's being raised at this kind of period?
Well, it's unfortunate. The fact that this kind of allegation is being raised in the first place is unfortunate because it can create a lot of problems. And I understand that maybe the collation centers will be over secured, where they are saying certain people or society or institution cannot be given access. That also will spell problem. But then, whenever issues like this are being raised, there's a need to do a proper interrogation of the allegation to ensure that there is no element of truth. And if there are elements of truth, the security operatives, INEC, and everybody concerned, including the civil society, we also have a responsibility to interrogate this kind of allegation and find out if it's true, then make the necessary call, reach out to whoever we know that can stem the tide of trouble, because this can spell doom. And I'm not saying anybody should take the law into their hands. This can be mere misinformation. It doesn't matter where it's coming from, and I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that let's not act based on hearsay. Let's make sure we have our facts, before we take proper action. But this is not a good omen.
Okay, so for me, I think this is like placing a whole lot of burden on INEC. So INEC, irrespective of the fact that whether this allegation is true or not, INEC should immediately come out with a press statement and roll out strategy. We have 18 local governments in Edo State as we stand, and elections have been conducted across the 18 local governments. The collation centers are going to be one in each local government. So it is now left for INEC to now say, okay, this is our strategy. This allegation is not correct. This is our strategy. All the political parties that stood in for this election, give us the names and identity of your collation center reps, and it should be announced on the radio and the television, and those lists should be given to the security at the gate. So those people now go inside and monitor the collation at each of the collation center until it is done.
Interesting. I must sincerely thank both of you. The exercise is not over. We need to still keep our eyes on the process as the transportation and the final collation and compilation of the result are being done, and we are in the very critical period. All of what has been done over the last year or so will come to nothing if this very last exercise is not seen through and thoroughly done. Thank you so much, Mr. Jackie Pele, the Executive Director of South Africa. Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Chief Adam, madam. Thank you so much. Member of the Civil Society Situation Room. We'll take a break, everyone, but when we return, so much more to talk about. The screen behind me will come alive, and we shall be showing you more data and more analyses about this election and some more live pictures for you. We'll be right back, everyone.
Cube is available in beef, chicken, jollof, and shrimp flavors at attractive prices of 100, 200, 500 naira, along with Saver and Super Saver packs.
Terra Cube, unwrap joy, unleash taste. Do you have a burning desire to transform your country? Can you drive this change with a profitable business? Then this is your moment. Seize the chance to win a grant of 30 million naira, gain top-tier mentorship from industry titans, and connect with an elite network of business leaders. Channels Television is once again on the hunt for young, ambitious, relentless social entrepreneurs ready to shine on the second season of the business competition show, Funded Forward. Apply now at www.fundedforward.tv. Funded Forward, a Channels original series. Subscribe now.
Stay connected to the world with Channels TV Podcast and get all the trending stories. Simply log on to channelstv.com. Click on podcast, select the program of your choice, and listen. Our podcast is available on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Tap the expertise you trust. Touch the stories that touch you. Anytime, anywhere.
I'm Ifeoma Williams, your guide on this transformative journey.
Welcome to Transform Her, the first of its kind on-air coaching program exclusively on Channels Television.
I define a product as that perfect thing that people are ready to part with their money for.
In a male-dominated environment, being required to uphold a position of leadership.
The good, the bad, the ugly, they all pull together to make you this woman and this person that you can be.
Join us in shaping the future of African female leadership as we provide practical resources for entrepreneurs and aspiring C-suite leaders. Every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. West African time, we bring you expert interviews, transformative coaching, and the tools you need for exponential personal and professional growth. Transform Her, because it's time to unlock your potential and lead with purpose.
Hello, and a warm welcome to our house. I'm Melinda coming up on today's episode of the program.
Life is a stage. A bold canvas. Splash some paint on it. String some rhymes while at it. Then enjoy it on Art House. We see life in beautiful curves, crafts, colors, and most exciting forms. Join us as we savor intriguing sights and sounds. At these times, Art House, life is art.
does double digits affect your purchasing power? What about ballooning debt profile and scarce FX? How's that affecting your business?
The federal government is turning to the money market to fund these deficits. Are yields contracting or expanding? Is this a good buy for you?
Inflation drives MPC decisions and affects sentiment at the equities markets. What is happening to your investments?
Or would you rather go digital? We track all the volatility in the crypto market.
Get the answers from the business team every weekday at 1 p.m. on Business Incorporated, only on Channels Television.
Modern lifestyle requires a lot of energy, backed up by intense production processes, which impact the environment in more ways than one.
The world has realized that you cannot deal with climate change without looking at loss of biodiversity.
On Edo Africa, nature speaks and the discerning mind becomes champion of sustainable living.
One thing we want to do is to change public behavior around recycling.
Watch Edo Africa on Channels Television and find out what nature is saying. There are 1,001 ways to start your day.
Whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria,
In London or anywhere in the world.
Or online.
We all want a perfect start to our day, don't we?
7 a.m. Every weekday, we bring you a better way to start your day.
And Ifeoma Williams, your guide on this transformative journey.
Welcome to Transform Her, the first of its kind on-air coaching program exclusively on Channels Television.
I define a product as that perfect thing that people are ready to part with their money for.
In a male-dominated environment, being required to uphold a position of leadership.
The good, the bad, the ugly, they all pull together to make you this woman and this person that you can be.
Join us in shaping the future of African female leadership as we provide practical resources for entrepreneurs and aspiring C-suite leaders. Every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. West African time, we bring you expert interviews, transformative coaching, and the tools you need for exponential personal and professional growth. Transform Her, because it's time to unlock your potential and lead with purpose.
Every person is subject to the rule of law, and that's why you should pay attention. Because when legal heavyweights talk, they talk to Law Weekly. Join Shola Shuele on Channels Television every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. for the big discussions on justice, the law, trending legal issues, and how it affects you. Catch up on YouTube and give your feedback. Remember, it's about the rule of law.
No matter where they are, if it concerns the people, we are there. From community game changers to homemade solution providers, where assurance and trust are built.
Policing should be people from the community who do the job. You don't bring an outsider.
We hear about Amotekun. We've not seen much of them around this area.
Documenting journeys of many starting big from a small place. Creating an intentional community where people go beyond living together to building strong and more friendly communities. Community Report, only on Channels Television. There are 1,001 ways to start your day.
Whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria,
In London
in the world.
Or online.
We all want a perfect start to our day, don't we?
7 a.m. Every weekday, we bring you a better way to start your day.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Staying with us on this continued coverage of the Edo Governorship election. Let's look at some more data set. I'm being joined by our friend Bukola Idowu, Executive Director of Impact Development Initiative, KDI. Thank you so much, Bukola, for joining us. What a day it's been.
It's been a long day.
Yeah. Visiting your data center, I know you've done quite a lot of data crunching, and I know that you have an idea of who is winning this race, but it's not up to us to announce because you're following all of the figures, and we do know who is likely to be in the lead and who is likely to win this election. Is getting clearer by some of the figures that we're getting, but it's up to an INEC.
We wait for INEC.
We wait for INEC to make the announcement. But in what we have at the moment is what you and your colleagues at KDI have worked on, and in this data set, for the next few minutes, let's feed our viewers, whatever they may be watching tonight. This is a summary of the election process and procedures, and what did you find out in all of what we're seeing so far?
Basically, we have 712 incidents and cases reported by the observer across 18 local governments.
And you deployed
massively now, and across 18 local government, 3 senatorial districts. But I think it's good to talk about the 4 most, that came out strongly. Yeah, and I mean, one. So you have the first one, 177 out of that bordered about peaceful protest. I mean, peaceful processes of the election. So which it means that, look, the election was largely peaceful in most of those local governments. Yeah. I mean, local government, and at the same time,
as against some of the threat analyses that have been made as to the possibility of violence, the possibility of clashes and conflict. But now there's a lot of people who are saying
the election,
the conduct was
peaceful, and the data supports that too. And I'm also, I'm glad to say that you remember the town hall meeting on election security.
Absolutely.
Now, what it means is that the deployment and every other recommendation also works. So we have relatively peaceful election. But of course, you know, the election is still not over.
Until,
yeah. So
because now we're seeing some narratives. Politicians are now saying, look, they want to rig the election. They want to take away security.
This is the time.
This is the time
that security have to be beefed up, because this is the time result will be tinkling in and there. Then the next one, very interesting, just like about 4% difference, was commencement of polls, you know, and then the next one was the arrival of INEC official. Then the next one was big issue was borders on.
What did people say about arrival of materials? Did they say it was good or bad?
Yes. So let's look at it. Arrival of material. So what it means is that late arrival of material just takes 76%.
Wow.
And that is, and of course, then when you now look at it, the accreditation and voting started later than 8:30. Now, so taking it from that summary of that 700, now you now have this percentage taken out of it. But again, when you now look at it, this talks about, but before I talk about it, but this talks about what the cause is, the reason for that late arrival. So greater percentage of that late arrival borders on late arrival, and greater percentage of late commencement borders on late arrival of INEC official, which is, of course, if you come late, you can't start early. You know, so that is what it means. Of course, some of our observers could not actually say the reason for that lateness, but it's better to tell us, no, I mean, you don't have the reason than to cook up. Then 24, look at this, the next big one was because of rain. You know, and you remember we talked about this issue of rain yesterday.
I said it, raised it as one of the observations that the weatherman has said about 2 hours of rain is going to pour, and when it does pour, it might affect especially because it's going to happen during the day. And it did, and a whole lot of polling units we saw the disruption.
So you can see the rain. Then late departure from RAC center caused this now. So and again, interrogating this, I thought we should have gone past this because it keep reoccurring, and that is what we have. And then in some instances, you have people. I mean, most of the ad hoc staff trying to find their way around the beavers. But when you look at the local government most affected by this late commencement and late arrival of material, Oredo, then you see Ego there, then Eastern, Southeast, and then you see Ovia. And this gives you the, of course, these are just the local government most hit by late arrival.
And if you look at it, Oredo and Ego local government, they are in the city. They are less than 30 minutes away from INEC office.
So let's just make excuses for INEC. Maybe they prioritize people outside the city. But that is still not an excuse because materials was moved to RAC Center, very close to some of those polling units. So, and I think what really is going on here, of course, maybe post-mortem of the election by INEC, they will be able to tell us. Then when you come down here, you look at the issue of vote buying, which is very, very rampant. But look at this. Almost all the local government experience it, but you have it more in Oka, then Ovia, and Ovia Northeast, and then Ego Central.
They were arrested in Ego and Oredo by the EFCC.
By the EFCC. So that's confirms that. But one of the things we also try to look at is that, look, out of those issues of vote buying, we try to look at, was it systemic vote buying or was it done with impunity, openly? But we find that more of it was systemic because it was not really done openly, where you have like about 28% of the okay, where it was done openly. Now we also try to look at what was traded, material things, but majorly money was traded. But when you come here, the most, we try to look at the
margin of the amount.
Of the amount, between 7,000 and 10,000. Take the was what was mostly shared, rampant, and that's a lot of money, and that's what you see. But who are the people buying? Who are the people responsible for this buying and trading? Party agents, highest percentage. Party members, then voter, in some instances, and then the party official themselves, and then the party top. That is what you have. But you see what the local government most eats in that particular place.
So, I mean, do we have more men? It does look like we have more men vote buyers. Or vote sellers.
But yes, more men involved.
Does it mean that we have more men who need more money than the female or the women?
Probably, maybe because they are breadwinners, they have to.
So maybe there are more criminal-minded men than women.
Exactly, but this is what the data is saying, basically.
Yeah. So Ipobaha, Ovia Northeast, Ego, Esako West, they are in the lead in the model and in the samples that you have. Interesting scenario playing out. So let's look at the beavers functionality. Very important. Because that is at the center of the conduct of this election. If beavers work well, yet we're home and dry because the technology is working. And we should be able to rely on technology. But how much of that?
But interestingly, today the beavers function very well. We only have like just about few, just few like about 16, just 16% of malfunction.
And they can easily be replaced.
It can easily be replaced. So this was not like a widespread. And I think when it comes to that, I think we should give it to INEC. These beavers work effectively.
If you look at it, if 16% out of 4,519 polling units, 16. The margin of error in that is insignificant.
This 16 now, when you break it down into what really, of course, you have system malfunctioning, then failure to capture voter, then INEC staff do not have password in 3 instances, and that's why will you pick the beavers and then you get to the polling unit and you are trying to look, you don't have the password, we have to start calling.
Someone like me, I'm very terrible with numbers. If you just password any device with number and you give me the number, trust me, I will not have the password. If I was one of the INEC staff, I might be in this, rather than being all of this, I might be more techie and but then I'm more resilient to use. But when it comes to password, I might be in this category. But you talk about the average time.
Before we look at the time, this talked about the local government. We have 3 incidents in Esako West, Ipobauka 3 incidents, Oredo 3 incidents. So you can see it's not like something that was widespread, but this is what we have. But when you look at the time for beavers accreditation, you say over 5 minutes, take the largest percentage, which means like, okay, between over 5 minutes.
So the difficulty in the usage of it.
Yes, a bit slow. Is a bit slow. That is one difficulty in the usage. At the end of the day, it's actually accredit. Now you have followed by 1 to 2 minutes, then 3 to 4 minutes. However, do you know why these have not been very giving us a lot of issues today? Was because technically the turnout was a bit low. Because by our calculation, if 300 people show up in a polling unit and then 5 minutes per person, then the election will have run into the night. But what we have is because it was a bit low, and then the turnout was a bit low, and then we are able to have this. But in all, you find out that the beavers work effectively today. These are just like, of course, it's not widespread, but it shows that it works very well today. And I think it's good to look at the voting and the weather today now and what really happened. So you find local government where voting paused due to rain. And these are the local governments. You know, you have issues that, okay, well, they have to pause the voting because of rain. Ipobauka, Ego, then down like that.
When we imagine that adequate preparations for tents and canopies and shelters, or maybe move the polling units inside classrooms or what have you.
I remember in July of this year, we released the first report and we talked about the weather. We look at the weather in September and we talked about it that it's likely going to rain just Friday and Saturday of the election. So I mean, INEC have enough time to make that preparation, adequate preparation for tent and everything. But of course, here we are today. Maybe.
But they could, I suggested the other day, that they could have employed the service of rain catchers or the spiritualists to be able to arrest the rain. But I mean, jokingly, but then the real fact is that we are people that are not really so troubled by weather. Yeah. We're not. The climate here is always very clement to us, but then we always take it for granted. If you were in other climes where the weather is always very unpredictable and harsher in terms of what they experience, brings out your building. You may not be able to. In fact, schools are cancelled because of harsh weather conditions. But here in Nigeria, all year round, we are always enjoying the weather condition. But again, it tells us something. We need to also think and plan properly.
That is absolutely. We need to do that. Then we look at the voting did not start due to rain. This one, voting started, of course, paused during the rain, where the rain was going on. But here, voting did not start because of the rain. Then you have 4 local governments that were affected there. That is Eastern North, Eastern Central, Isako Central, and then Igweben. Then here, voting and raining were going on simultaneously here. And for us, we are really putting our eyes on these 2 local governments. Yeah. Do you know why, Shil? The reason is that why voting and raining, voting were going on simultaneously, there are possibility of rejected votes. Spoiled ballot because of the rain. Yeah. Because you can't be thumb printing just where it's drizzling and then we not smell that. Yeah. We are looking at this because by the time INEC release the data, and then we're going to see
there might be issues.
There might be issues of a lot
of the validity of the ballot.
Spoiled ballot here, and that is what it really talks about here. Then lastly, let's look at party agent interference. Where party agents were present in the polling unit. All the polling units today, you have party agents represented. They were there, but of course, we had only just 6%. I talked about where party agents interfere in the entire process. So, but this is what we have today, and we are still monitoring. We are still looking at it, tabulating, and we are still looking at other areas. For instance, you remember yesterday we talked about the margin of lead. We are still watching with is going to drop this year. We are also looking at after the announcement or during what the turnout is going to look like. What the turnout is going to look
and the credibility of the process. And the process, yes. Because when and I know you are doing that work also, trying to put the figures together as to tabulate your figure in your own way. INEC has its result, but you are tabulating your own so that you can
let's look at the consistency
and let's see what goes on at the end of the day. This also gives us an understanding. Of course, if you look at the IREF and what we can get, if you refresh it, let's see if there is any update. Out of the 4,519 polling unit results, we do know as of today, as of now, that 94% of those results are now in, with 4,284 results that are being captured or uploaded. These are I was having this conversation with Samson. I said, look, it's not in the number of the results that have been uploaded. It's also in the quality of those results, because anyone could capture. We've seen people literally take pictures of nonsense and put it on the INEC?
At the moment, you know, we are already following this. I mean, like you just said, tabulating and some of this. We have also seen some of the incomplete results. There, when I say incomplete, snapped half. Then you've have the remaining part missing, cut off, and then you see some other funny
mutilated and
upload
cancellation
that you see. So, but it's not like you said. It's not about the quality. I mean, the quantity. Yeah. It's about the quality and the integrity test of that goes into the result uploaded. But at the same time, we are happy that this is working, and then as of this moment, we can have 94%.
Which is good compared to what we have seen in the past.
Compared to what we have seen.
I mean, if you add this, maybe in 2023, maybe there won't be any problem, because when INEC said there were technical glitches up to today, they said they've resolved it. We do not even know what exactly is the nature of the technical glitch. But from your own point of view and at KDI, how would you assess, and I look at conduct first, how do you generally assess this exercise?
So I am going to look at it in three major areas. Number one, the election administration, then election security, and then from the part of the voter. Number one, election administration, I think is let's just make it average. It will have gone above average, if not because of the logistic issues that we thought we could have done away with as of today. Then you find location from the rack to the polling unit. There was no vehicle to convey the people. We saw police in some instances or military in some instances coming to the rescue. In some of those places, then you saw, so you expect these to have, that we should have gone past that. Late commencement really, done a lot of evil. So in that administration, of course, average, and then we can look at it. Then I can say above average when you come about the election security, the professionalism of the security agencies, the deployment. Now, we did not have any polling units that you don't have security agency. They are, the professionalism. Of course, you have isolated cases where you see some issue around overzealousness and then allowing people to get rowdy in some places. But when you look at it, the kind of neutrality bit that we've seen, and even where arrests were made, you are able to see that, yes, this person really committed. It was not like, okay, this man was really framed up. So you look at that. Then the third aspect where I was talking about from the angle of the voter turnout seems to be a bit low. Now, when we were pulling some of these results together, looking at it, so you see registered voter 949 in a particular polling unit, then accredited voter 68. So you find out that, look, the turnout was that a bit low. But when you now pull this because when you pull this together, we have an election that, of course, is still better on the average, so this is what we see. But at the end of the day, by the time we see result collation, we see result tabulation, and then we see a situation where the result is, the announcement has been made, then we can now assess the election. But I must say that it looks like, I just pray that this election can be accepted at the first ballot, that the people will not go to court. The candidates will not go to court.
And I'm imagining that there might be, this race might be so tight that we may not be able to determine the winner at the first ballot.
It's possible.
It's looking like it.
With what we have seen, it's possible.
Right. Take it from us. We do not, we don't faff around. We do not speculate. We say based on facts that are available. But there's some stories coming in from INEC officially. They're saying the commission's attention has been drawn to an allegation of wrong figures entered into polling unit results sheet in the ongoing Edo State governorship election. INEC is saying this is the second complaint which they've received out of the 4,519 polling unit results used for the election, and the commission will immediately investigate the matter and deal with any proven infraction. There have been viral pictures of polling unit results, 2 instances according to INEC. They said they will investigate and get to the bottom of it. But then, here we are, Bukola. Well done, good job. It is not over until it's over. We see how this whole collation goes, and hopefully, maybe they will allow all of us go to bed. We'll come in the morning, get the announcement done in few 3-4 hours. Hopefully, the 18 local government can be turned in, a winner announced, and everybody goes home. I guess that could be a possibility.
Yes, that could be a possibility, and we hope nothing happen. During the process, that all things should be equal, and then we will be able to say.
And the cover of dark, a lot of things happen.
A lot of things.
We do hope
that is why we say we hope nothing happens during the process.
It's good to see you. Good job that you're doing at KDI with you and your colleagues. Congratulations for all of you, what you have done. Well, this is the moment where we anchor and get ready for the news at 10, China Television's flagship news, where you get all of the updates and get the juiciest of the stories in the land as of today. The election in Edo State is one major story that we've been following for you, and you get all the perspectives at the top of the hour. It's been our beat right now. We rested, and we continue to give you update. Keep your eyes on Channels Television, because the election result collation will be live on channels. I'll bring you up to speed with every news that you need to know. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this coverage with us. We're not done yet, but we'll be back after the news at 10. Thank you so much indeed for being a very good company. On behalf of all of us here covering this election here in Benin City and across the state, I'm Sean Wakimale. Have yourself a pleasant evening.
Life is a stage. A bold canvas. Splash some paint on it. Spring some rice while at it. Then enjoy it on Art House. We see life in beautiful curves, crafts, colors, and the most exciting forms. Join us as we savor intriguing sights and sounds at these times. Art House, life is art.
Do you have a burning desire to transform your country? Can you drive this change with a profitable business? Then this is your moment. Seize the chance to win a grant of 30 million naira, gain top-tier mentorship from industry titans, and connect with an elite network of business leaders. Channels Television is once again on the hunt for young, ambitious, relentless social entrepreneurs ready to shine on the second season of the business competition show, Funded Forward. Apply now at www.fundedforward.tv. Funded Forward, a Channels original series. Apply now.
The intriguing pieces done by 6 female artists have been displayed in 6 Swans, a group exhibition capturing the essence of the water bird at the Signature Beyond Gallery in Lagos.
All the works have been based on human figurative, okay, but each and every one of them render it in her own style and is totally away from what was for the last 2-3 years making so much wave, which is called the Black Art. Okay, and this is another dimension altogether, and each one has something to offer. The works are good, the rendering is interesting, and it just happened that all of them worked in human anatomy, but with variable. That's all.
The gracefully long-necked, heavy-bodied, big-footed birds that glide majestically when swimming and fly with slow wing beats and with necks outstretched have been incorporated into these pieces with strong messages.
Swan represents grace, and when it comes to grace, it means courage, being able to carry yourself in a confident manner. And for my works, is all about exuding confidence in expressing yourself and exploring your body.
I have the one I titled Behind Her Smile. I think that's actually about a real-life experience. When I tried to capture the model, she refused to show her teeth. She just faked it up with a smile because she has a broken teeth. So I had to resonate with, okay, people go through a lot in life, but they just had to smile through everything they are facing in life.
Besides this admiration which links swans to some human qualities, the technique and color each artist applies in exploring this subject is unique to them.
The medium of my work is versatile. It's not limited to a particular medium. Yeah, I say they are mixed media, but I always say they are found materials because any material that captures that I see that I can use captures my mood or whatever, especially with if it has shades, I can easily work with them.
These talented women have about 30 works of art on display in an array of media for this group exhibition.